over to you, Calvin, for your case study.
Thank you. So this is my case study, and thank you again, Henry, for this course. It's been really invaluable. Um, okay, so we're going to begin with the problem statement, and this is: we believe that inexperienced amateur music producers on low budgets are finding it difficult to create industry quality music. Now, the way we found out was we were trying to figure out what the niche was, and this was something that sort of came about. And really to validate it, well, I did some user interviews, so we did 5 in total. And to summarize what a lot of them were saying, the first and probably the main thing was that they just had a lack of funds to buy expensive equipment, and a lot of them felt that they needed to buy expensive equipment to create industry quality music. The other thing is they had a lack of direction as well, in terms of where to go to find sort of the information to create music that they wanted to create, but also they were struggling to get a good workflow as well. Time was something that was mentioned a lot, lack of time to focus on it. So yeah, just having a poor idea on how to yeah, get to that stage. Also, there wasn't a lot of good budget-friendly online music course, and I'll explain what good was in their terms anyways. So by good, I meant not interactive. So a lot of them were just, you know, just courses where every lesson's available, and they said it was just overwhelming for them, and it sort of left them to figure it out on their own. There's no accountability, and it sort of linked back to sort of their issues on sort of workflow. So that was a big issue. So those are the 3 main issues. In terms of the main acquisition channels, definitely Facebook by far. I first tried LinkedIn, but I found that a lot of the LinkedIn musicians were established professional ones. And actually, when I was speaking to some of the ones I found on Facebook, they didn't want to put music as part of their profile because they didn't think they had the credibility to say that they were a musician, which I thought was fair enough. So from there, I just stuck with Facebook groups. Okay, so yeah, this is sort of documenting all the discovery calls, and really making sure that we turn all the information that we got from discovery calls straight into the opportunity and then onto the vision. So making sure that it wasn't sort of my ideas, this is coming straight from the users. And yeah, from that we got the vision of: we help amateur music producers on low budgets create industry quality music with a free online and hands-on music production course. And that hands-on bit was really important because, again, that was one of the main things that like I said, they really thought would be useful. So being able to validate this, we had to create an MBO offer, and we did this doing a web page. So I created a web page that had a subscription option to try out if the beta, and from that I got 5% outreach to sign conversion rate. And again, this was just from reaching out to this. It was actually the same Facebook group. It was a really large group, it's like 100,000 members or something. So just reaching out to them, and yeah, I think I was pretty okay with that conversion rate. And then in terms of sort of comparative analysis, we sort of see what our differentiation was in terms of our MVO, and we did that using a blue ocean strategy canvas. And really from that, we found that our space was: we're non-time consuming, we're cost effective, but we're also hands-on, and we can sort of give accountability as well. So whoever's on the course can find a way to know if they're making progress and things like that. That's really the space that we operated. And alongside that, we also did a product story canvas and the product vision. So this is the picture of the landing page of the web page where users came in and signed up if they wanted to see more information. There wasn't actually that many site sessions. I think in total less than 25, but from that I did get, I think, 4 signups. So that was like a good, yeah, good, I guess, good, yeah. Yeah, let me move on to the next one. So from that, like I said, we got the product vision, which is: we turn amateur music creators in the UK into industry quality music producers. And one thing that I sort of realized from speaking with them is that they sort of didn't want to call themselves music producers because they felt that meant they were professional, like they were, in the industry. So I think being able to turn them into music producers, giving them that title, give them that feeling of sort of accomplishment, because a lot of them just said, I'm just a creator. It's a bit yeah. So I thought that would be a really good vision. Okay, so now was really onto the testing the beta version of the music production course and really validating it and seeing if it fit the target customer and see if it was feasible as well. And like I said, there wasn't that many site sessions. I think it was 23, but we got 4 signups from that, so it was about 25% conversion rate. Yep, to join the beta list. And then we had the lean canvas and strategic roadmap as well, and that was really helpful, particularly the strategic roadmap, just to kind of see where the product could go. And I think for me personally, I'm quite that person who likes to see things into the future. So I think that was helpful. I think particularly for me, if anything. And obviously the lean canvas, getting that whole business kind of model onto there quite early is quite good. Then we did a customer journey map. Again, really useful for when I did the wireframe, just making sure I stick to what the customer wants instead of me going on my own tangent and just designing what I think would be helpful. So again, personally, that was helpful for me. And that was, yeah, just documented on this page here. And that's the landing page as well on the right. This was made on a Miro boards, sort of the prototype feature. So yeah, that was the wireframes that we did. And this is the customer journey. Again, I made sure that the wireframes really matched what the customer journey was saying, just so I stick back to the user. Okay, and now on to, yeah, so the objective 4. So yeah, this is really, I guess, the big deal breaker, shall I say, which is trying to validate the core value of the product, creating that prototype and seeing if it really does offer any value. So obviously the first thing I did was I built the no-code prototype on Adalo and made sure that, yeah, it just really was quite close to the wireframes. I think it was quite close, which is good. And I managed to get 3 users to test the beta version. And I actually got a PMF score of 33%. I put an asterisk there because when I was speaking to him, he didn't seem as enthused about it, but when I got the survey back, he said it. So I don't know if he was being like, and I sort of know him as well, so I don't know, but I think nonetheless, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I think, yeah, yeah, this was the PMF score, and there were 3 quite different people that I tested. So the first one was he did full-time work in London, and that's quite important because obviously I think about having time as well, how much time he had. So he didn't have that much time, but he made music in his spare time, and he started 6 months ago. So I'd say compared to the other 2 that I tested, he was probably the more established, even though it was just 6 months. The other ones were quite new to it. But he was the one that was not disappointed if he couldn't use the app. So he was the least interested in it, which I found interesting. And then the second person was new to music, and he also works in London full time, and his budget wasn't really something that was an issue at all. But he was somebody that would be somewhat disappointed in the if he couldn't use the Musico app again. And then the last segment was somebody who had a low budget. He was working part-time in London, and he was like completely new to music production. He was the one that said he would be very disappointed. So I'm thinking maybe because he's never seen any other music course, and that's why he's felt like the one that he's seen was good. I'm not really sure, but yeah, I mean, he did give some really good feedback in terms of the actual app, which I'll go into. So yeah, this is on the right is sort of the screenshots of the application. So obviously, you got your homepage and your artist pages, and you've got your lessons and things like that. And on the left is the sort of summarize of all the feedback that I got from the user test that I did an effort impact matrix, which I then put onto a roadmap, which I'm going to show as well. But before that, this is sort of the key things that I found from the survey. So the things to keep doing was the layout. So that, actually, I think I've swapped, I've swapped these around. My bad. So sorry. The things to keep doing was to make it engaging, interactive. The fact that have that accountability, made sure that their workflow was better. The community aspect as well. They liked the idea that there was a Slack community. They found the videos good and engaging. And see if I can read a little bit. Yeah, the time as well. The fact that the videos were on, you can view them anytime was really convenient, particularly to the one who had not really a lot of time. And the things to improve on, UI came up a lot. Just make it look better, the layout, and also somebody suggested put in. Sorry, yeah.
Just jump in. I think they're the wrong way around.
Yeah, I just realized now. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I realized.
No, it's fine. Just to be clear, to make sure I understand.
Yeah, they're the wrong way around. Yeah. One feedback was adding notes. So there's no place where, I know there's a Slack community, but he said on the app, if there's somewhere where you could just put in feedback when somebody submitted a song. Yep. So I put those on the roadmap, and after I did my sort of effort impact matrix. And the first thing was to improve the UI, because I thought I could do that quite easily. Just make the navigation patterns a little easier and make it mobile friendly, because it wasn't. Ability to add comments and notes, again, that's what they suggested to artist pages. And also obviously having more lessons, a more complete sort of library of lessons, more genres of music to cover. That was on the roadmap, and that's just illustrated here. Okay. Yep. Okay, principles. So people over processes. I'm a big believer in, I think, sticking to the people as opposed to processes, because things can change. And that's what I believe in. Data of intuition. That's something that I learned a lot through this process, that to just forget all what I feel about how a product should go. It should be about what the user's saying. That can only be gathered from the data. So I think that's something this course kind of really flipped me upside down, which is great. And also the why before the what and how. So each step of the process, figuring out, why am I doing this feature? Why am I going with this direction? As opposed to just saying, what am I doing or how I'm doing it? And that's something that I learned from Simon Sinek. And also iterate. So always making sure that you're building something that you can test really quickly, and that you can change it, improve it, as opposed to just waterfall building one big thing and just hoping for the best and having to rebuild it. So again, iteration was really good, and doing no code, I think, is so helpful in that way. Gives you a lot of room to improve. Process. So the first thing is to understand, which I think goes back to the why, making sure you know why you're doing something, whether it's the vision, whether it's a feature. And the second thing is to ideate as well, just to come up with different ideas for satisfying the why. And then to validate MVO, again, that comes back to one of the principles of data, making sure you're using data to validate and not your intuition or what you think a user may like or may want. Prototype. Yeah, like Adalo is really good for that, making a prototype that's usable, but also that you're able to iterate with, which leads on to learn. Again, you're learning from what your user is saying, but you're not just learning, you're iterating, you're changing from that feedback. You don't want to just get feedback without changing anything. I don't think that's helpful. And invest only once you have a strategy. Again, you don't want to build something and then invest a lot into it that you've not got a strategy for. And I think that's where the roadmap comes in. And coming from a finance background, I think it's good to think 2 years, 3 years ahead financially. You can only do that once you have a complete roadmap. So I think that's quite important. So that's pretty much it. I'll just say about me. So I'm an associate product manager, though with 5 years experience in project management, but I'm new to the world of product management. And I believe particular importance of education provision around the world. And I think it's important to particularly teaching soft skills like leadership and how these closely tie in to being a good product manager. That's something, yeah, I really believe in. And
Awesome.
oh,
Sorry,
I'm done.
go
Yeah.
ahead. No, go ahead. Go
Just
ahead.
quickly, just my learnings, just like what I learned from it. So the first thing I learned how I wouldn't say easy, but easier I thought it was to build a product that people could actually use and could actually like, as opposed to I thought I'd need to, invest £1 million in some app to, get something that people would like. And also I learned the importance of everything that you do has to be from user feedback. It can't be from what you think will be important. It has to be from the users. That's pretty much it.
Awesome. Sorry, I was sneezing in the background, but I really enjoyed it. Really good presentation.
Thanks.
Right, I'm just going to go through some specific points on the case study, and then we'll talk about some general points.
Yep.
From the 8 weeks. So, first thing, your storytelling was really good, actually. I thought it was well beyond your years of experience, where you for example, at the beginning, you say, well, here was the problem, and then we did interviews to validate that problem. You gave specific examples as well, which is great. You mentioned lack of funds, for example. You talked about why that was important and gave a lot of color to the story, which is really important because people aren't going to remember many things.
Yeah.
So giving them these specific examples, even more, you could go, I spoke to this one guy, John, who mentioned lack of funds, and, could have a whole little story about that. You could be like, that was very common. That came up in many of the conversations. So it's a really key skill to keep cultivating. Same thing when you mentioned that word good, and you explain what do we mean by that? Like, what was the sort of theme coming up often? And throughout, same thing, you sort of gave these nice little insights and examples. It's super important. On the discovery calls, the other thing you did well, you talked about, okay, what it is. It's about turning insights into problems and then feeding that into the vision. So again, you're explaining, it was clear to me, like, why are you talking about this stuff if I were new to this, or if I'm a stakeholder? You also did what I call bridging really well. So what does that mean? It means that you're going from one point to the next one and it makes sense. It's logical, there's a narrative. So for example, when you came into the second set of OKRs around validating the offer, you go, well, from that research we did, we came out with this vision of X. And then you went into the objectives and key results for it. Good. Blue Ocean, you gave, again, very clear on what it is. It's about competitive analysis, differentiation. You gave specific examples of, we saw a gap for being cost effective, hands-on, etc. That was very good. Most people way more senior than you don't do that, by the way. So it's very effective. Then your conversion was very good. So the site sessions to 4 signups, 20% rather than 25, but still very good. So I'm just have to get a paper again. My nose.
It's all right.
Sorry about that.
It's all right.
Right. So yeah, conversion was good actually. What's it? 20% sign up conversion is very, very good to start. So it shows there's some, again, we're looking at indicators. There's definitely an indicator that you're offering something people are interested in. Now, obviously, we refine that further. We will build an acquisition team, right? We make that funnel very tight, but it's a great start. On the vision, again, just really mature storytelling. You talked about that point about industry quality and why it was so important to mention the fact that you need to make them feel like they're real musicians. It's such good insight. Really, really strong storytelling. On only weak part, I think, where you didn't do this was the no code. So you did right at the end in your learnings, but you sort of just said, so I built a no code and that was it. It was like, okay, well, what was it?
Yeah.
Why was it important that you did it in a certain way? Like, why were we building this thing? What did we want to learn from it? Again, just in really simple terms, as you did with the discovery calls, you guys. Yeah, so we built an no code prototype to test out whether the solution we were thinking of was something that the market valued.
Yeah.
Literally single sentence like that. Really, really powerful. Yeah, I love to address the biases in the data again. That's a really mature thing to do. It's easy just to go like, here are some stats. Okay, like how did you interpret them? That's really important and mature. On the product market fit engine, I find very interesting the segments. And I think, you might find that it's not demographics, like, are they working full-time or not? But it might be a psychographic of like, how seriously do they take music making?
Yeah.
What stage are they at? And, obviously there's amateurs, but there's a big spectrum there. Is it type of music they like? Aspirations that they have? So that's something that will come, more tests you do, the more sort of trends you'll start seeing and connections you can start making.
Yeah.
On the word cloud, yeah, good. You talked through these, you gave some nice examples. Obviously they're the wrong way around, but doesn't matter. It was obvious. You talked about it well. And then just sort of zooming out. So yeah, case study general I thought was excellent. I think for somebody, and this is also true obviously of the 8 weeks, I think for somebody so new to product, it showed a real maturity that many people like 10 years experience as product managers don't have. So that was great to see that, I'm not worried about your future in product, right? Based off what I've seen that in the 8 weeks. And I think things specifically like, again, your storytelling. Secondly, the clarity of vision that you had, and that you had a very clear understanding of the market. Obviously, you sort of put yourself in that, but you didn't do it in a way that I felt was biased. You did the research properly. You had a very clear understanding of what your USP was, right? That unique value proposition. You stuck with that. And that was very clear again in the, when you're talking about the blue ocean, when you talked about the prototype and like what you wanted to do with that. So that's the key thing to take away, is that sort of confidence in your own vision, or having a product vision and sticking to, and making sure that when it comes down to the solution, you're not just going like, oh, let's do a bit of everything, but staying laser focused on what you think is unique and how you're going to deliver that unique value. So again, that shows the maturity. Chloe was the other person that did that really well recently. And she's got 5 years on you in product.
Yeah.
That showed a real maturity there from you. And again, maturity with things like the principles, like you made these your own, you had the confidence to go, okay, what are my principles, rather than just copying what we give you in the template.
Yeah.
Same thing with the learnings as well. So there's really good signs, I think, from me, well, that, from you really with the case study and over the 8 weeks. And final thing as well, I think with everyone it's in a new job, like it's really, congrats for sticking with it, because it's really hard. If you're starting a new job, you're all switching projects all the time, you're doing all these trainings. So I think it's great to see, again, you're just sticking with it. And that resilience is something I talk about a lot. You just cannot go wrong. If you put the work in, stick with stuff, like you're always going to succeed in life. So I think that was great to see. So, Cam, you'd summarize, I think you've got a great foundation now for, obviously you got to learn the day-to-day stuff. You've got to get more comfortable with things like, you could have done a better job on talking about revenue. We didn't mention strategic roadmap. You didn't actually give me a sort of clear idea of what that looks like beyond just a sort of a prototype course. But these are things that come over time. Right? It's kind of things that a senior PM is going to be talking about. Right? Anton's a good example of that. Like he's connecting all these dots, comes with time and experience. So that's not something that I would expect, but kind of thing you want to be pushing in future.
Okay.
Good. And how do you feel that went for the 8 weeks as well for you?
8 weeks have been obviously really, really good. A lot different than I expected. I thought they've just hooked me up to another online course that I need to do, because I've had to do loads of them. But this was completely different, and it was fun as well. So
good.
I enjoyed it.
Good. Well, as long as different and fun is what we're hopefully useful as well.
Yeah, definitely
useful.
useful.
We tick those 3 boxes and we've done our job well. Excellent. Well, next step is, you're in an environment where I know Michael is not your direct boss, but he's going to be pushing like this through. So even if you get pushback in your organization over the next year or so, like push this stuff through. Right? Next step is just keep trying, whether it's new opportunities, existing products, like put everything into practice, because the support is there. you're always going to be resistance from sales or marketing, or maybe even your boss at some point who sees you as a threat. So yeah, any advice now I can give is just keep doing what you're doing really and put it into practice.
Okay. There's another thing as well. In my office or in my department, there's a job opening for a product manager. So I don't know if there's a way I can advertise that, or you had any recommendations of somebody.
Yeah, definitely. Post on the jobs channel.
Okay.
And tag me actually, because I'll just have a think later when I've got some time about who might be a good candidate. Yeah, there's always people looking in the community.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
Sounds
awesome.
good.
Excellent. Well, look, final things, congrats. And I'm going to send you the certificate on Slack in a second.
Thank you.
You can put that on your LinkedIn. Again, it's great. Even obviously you're not looking to move job at the moment, but just good exposure. And it also shows to people in the company that you're someone that can be taken seriously with product as well. So it'd be a nice boost for you.
Sure.
Excellent, Calvin. Well, look, anything, questions over the next few months, I'm on Slack. Use that urgent help channel, Randa, all these things are resources that we're going to be posting. And I might even see you at the meetup at Christmas.
Oh yeah, there is, isn't there? Okay. What day is that again?
The Thursday, sorry, my dog. Thursday the 16th.
Okay. Yeah, I think I could be there actually. Yeah.
Well, see how. Don't worry. Don't break a leg together. It'd be nice to see you in person.
Cool.
Yeah, but look, good luck with everything. As I said, look, you've got a great future, I think, ahead of you in product. So just keep putting stuff into practice.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks, Cam. Have a good afternoon.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.